Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Waters Above, wishing you all an incredible week so far, sending you love and gratitude. In today's video, we're going to talk about the lunar cycle, full moons, and new moons, and their effect on this crypto market. It's something I exposed to the world almost 2 years ago, so it will be a reminder for those who've been with us for some time. But for those of you that are new to the Waters Above Wolfpack, welcome. It's great to have you here with us. Get out a pen and paper and take some notes. Today's video is going to be packed with gnosis as usual. And of course, I'll be going over the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to share my outlook for the crypto market as we move closer to the end of this year. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you who are interested in learning how to decode using Gematria and would like to develop the skills so you can read the charts on your own, combining Gematria with technical analysis, or if you're seeking coaching for expanding consciousness, you can visit my website, watersabove.com, and check out my crypto mastermind or my newest expansion mastermind course available now. The links will be in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below. And with that being said, let's take the clear pill. So we're going to be kicking everything off today with some dates as usual. Today is December 7th, which is the full moon. As you can see right here, full moon being on December 7th, of course, happening at 11:09 p.m. 9/11. What an amazing number connection that we've been talking about this whole year. As you might remember, we were talking about the lunar eclipse, which just happened last month, about a month ago from today. And that was the FTX ritual with SBF. And on the 11/9 date, we watched that coin go down to one of the lowest points before a sharp rebound and recovery on the following day. And I would love for you guys to go rewatch that video. And for those of you that have been following this channel for the past 6 months or so, you remembered us calling that correction and to anticipate that correction for that specific lunar eclipse. So it's beautiful to watch it all play out as we were anticipating. And we were able to do that using Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology. So today, I was very influenced to talk more about this lunar cycle, and I will be getting into that very thoroughly, even showing you in the charts. For those of you that already have my crypto mastermind course, you know that there's a video dedicated to the moon phases and the lunar cycle and how I combine it with TA. And today I'm going to be reviewing some of those ideas as well. So based on the way that lunar cycles affect the market, we typically see a 5-day window before or after a full moon to expect a microcycle low. So when it comes to a full moon, we're typically anticipating bearish energy. When it comes to a new moon, we're anticipating bullish energy. And this is a window of time that could be 5 days before up to 5 days after. So in this instance today, since we are on the date of the full moon, we could actually anticipate up till the 12th of December would be a solid window of time to have bearish energy in the market. And when I say that, I'm not talking about a new low necessarily. I'm not talking about a crash. I just mean because we're actually keeping up with this market week by week, I'm coming out with a video on YouTube every week, plus a podcast every week over on my Patreon, the Red Pill podcast. And this crypto market is training 365, 24/7 with no breaks. This lunar cycle and the moon phases are the best way to be able to determine the market movement. And you could determine that before the month even starts. So it really is one of the greatest swing trading indicators that exists. And as long as you're conservative and you have risk management in place, and again, this is not financial advice, it has been one of the best ways for people who don't even want to learn TA to actually be able to trade the market. So this date of the 7th, which is today, just a couple connections, one being 72 days since this key date right here, which is Rosh Hashanah. And we could see that 72 ties back to Bitcoin in Gematria with that 72 right there, as well as this is the day leaving 24 days left in the year. And you could see that right there with the 24 and Satoshi giving us that 24. We know Satoshi Nakamoto being the creator of Bitcoin. And you could even see another connection right here. If I type it correctly, you have 181 in English ordinal for the full name, and that is right here. You're going to see the 42nd prime number. So that 24, it's the mirror of that number. So let's keep going. There's a lot to say about the 12th of December. I already shared this in a prior video, so I'm just going to zoom through it. We have this being the 12 days of the 12th month with a 12-date numerology. So you could see standard date numerology giving you the 12th day of the 12th month in the Gregorian system. And this is 77 days since Rosh Hashanah, which had a 77-date numerology. And this is very important, guys, because this right here had everything to do with the Shemitah, which is the 7-year cycle. So it's very important because this date of the 12th actually will be starting the 50th week of this year. And we've talked about how just like the Jubilee is practiced on the 50th year after 7 cycles of 7 Shemitah years, which is what my research shows the exact Hebrew year to be that we're in right now. So this Hebrew year of 5,782, you could see really quickly, 5,783, adds up to 23, as well as we know Jubilee equals 23. And this market is influenced by lunar cycles, which has everything to do with the moon, and moon gives you 23, and even lunar cycle is giving you the 32, which is the mirror of 23. And as you practice alchemy, you know it's all about mirroring, as above, so below, as within, so without. So this actually all ties into a new decode that I'll be working on, that I'll be releasing on Patreon this month, dedicated to the next Chinese New Year, the lunar year of the water rabbit. And I'll let everyone know when that decode is available, as well as in the meantime, I actually had this decode released last week, and it's called the 49th week decoded, which is available on Patreon now for any Patreon supporters. And it covers my outlook between this current week that we're in, which is the 49th week of this year. And the significance behind that number 49 had to do with the Shemitah being the 7 times 7, and then that's 49 years, and then 50th year we practice Jubilee. So I'm seeing that this week in particular, which I could show you right here, being the 49th week, moving into next week are gonna be critical, especially with Saturnalia being within this time frame as well. And we think about the Shemitah, that is the year of Saturn. So we're coming up on the Saturn festival. Very important that you guys pay attention to all this. So the way that this is all going to go is I believe this video right here will almost be like a part 1 to the Chinese New Year decode that I'm working on, because the date connections are all tied together. So that's available on patreon.com/watersabove. And this Patreon membership includes access to my Red Pill podcast, which I just released episode 88 this week. So on that 88th episode, I did kind of reiterate some of the things that happened on the 49th week decoded. And I went over these altcoins as well. For those of you that are interested, every week I'm going over about 4 to 5 different altcoins. And this allows me to really kind of like look at some new projects in the market, do my TA and decode accordingly to kind of figure out, some more stuff to pay attention to, some stuff to keep in mind. So the Patreon membership also includes access to my Red Pill podcast, which I just released that newest episode. And I am actually working on a new project that I'm really excited to talk about, which right now members are posting inside of our Discord with this new Wolves Meetup text channel. So I just opened this up yesterday. It's a new text channel on our Discord dedicated to meetups. So if you're someone who's looking to meet up with like-minded individuals, this will be the place to start making those connections. So I'm really excited to start this project. Right now, all the members are posting what country or state they live in. And by tomorrow, we will start opening up threads within this text channel that are dedicated to the most popular countries, and we'll cover and continue to grow the list and expand as more people get involved. So this way we could actually leverage on this platform that I built to have real life connections. And who knows, maybe we'll even see some relationships unfold from this project I started. So just wanted to let everyone know about this update and let everyone know what we're up to over in this mastermind community. We cover everything from technical analysis to Gematria, astrology, health and wellness, and now this new Wolves Meetup text channel to bring even more value to this community, along with all the other perks in the membership. So I'm looking forward to seeing where all our members are from, and for you all to start making some connections with fellow wolves in the wolf pack. It's an amazing way for us to move into 2023. So as I mentioned earlier, this entire 49th week of the year, moving into Saturnalia on December 17th and into the next full moon on January 6th. To start 2023 is the time frame that I personally see another move to the downside for the crypto market, which will then follow up with a short-term recovery phase over the following 3 to 4 months. So this is a very important time to pay attention to these, crypto and just overall economics, these crypto markets in particular. I know the Wolfpack is one of the few communities that can actually see through all the psyops and distractions. So we're going to be the few that take action, over this next 3 months, while most are just lost in the sauce. And don't worry about those people. You aren't here to wake them up to what's going on. It's on them to trip and fall. And when they're ready, they will start to seek. And I just wanted to say that because I wanted to remind you of this, because this is a very important time to stay in your own lane, stay focused on your purpose. Don't get distracted by the theatrics and drama that surrounds you. This is your time to shine. So put your energy towards your purpose and don't worry about serving someone else's. So before we get into the technical analysis today, go ahead, give this video a like if you haven't already, and spread some love in the comments section. That's what we're all about here. So here we are, we're looking at the Bitcoin chart all time. I mean, we could zoom out even more, but I just wanted to show you these past 2 cycles that we're in. And we have this moon phases indicator on. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into it because I have a full-blown course lesson on it inside of my Crypto Mastermind course. Anyone who signs up to my Patreon, by the way, which I just spoke about moments ago, gets the biggest discount on my courses. So if that's something you're interested in, of course, there's a lot more than just talking about this lunar cycle. There's 110 plus videos in that course alone. So one of the key things to get into in today's video, though, is just seeing how these moon cycles affect the market and how there is a difference in energy that could cause some confusion for people that are brand new to this analysis. And they might be thinking, well, some months it doesn't work as well as other months. And I'm actually going to be sharing today why that is the case. So all in all of our all-time highs are essentially happening on new moons. You could see right here, this white circle is a full moon and this darker black circle is a new moon. And right there, when we were in this whole energy right here, we were actually in a solar cycle, okay, like a solar phase. So when we were getting solar eclipses, that was actually powerful for momentum to the upside. And when we switched off here in this energy and moved into this down cycle, what people call a bear market, we were actually in a lunar phase. And during that lunar phase, we actually have lunar eclipses being a negative energy. So let's just look to the recent market that we have, where we actually had the start of a lunar cycle kick in right here. And it was on the eclipse that happened back in May. So think about this. This energy started back in May of 2021, which was moments before that. We saw Bitcoin almost hit 65,000, and then it corrected down to 29,000 for the total lunar eclipse, which happened right here. And you could see this was a pretty nasty correction. Now, up here, we had a recovery, which led to exactly the new moon. I'm sure many of you remember that. And then we rolled over into this following full moon with one more swipe to the upside. And this was very unlikely, but we did get that final move into the Q4 timeframe. And that has been happening every 4 years. So it's nothing different. And we're not really even going to get into that today. The point being is that we're still seeing these cycle tops happen on new moons and these bigger corrective moves happening on full moons. So there is a window of energy and something to be discussed for a more macro time frame, which is from this moment right here of May 2021 all the way until April 20th of 2023. We are in a lunar cycle. Okay. And what that means is every time we have lunar eclipses, total lunar eclipses, we're going to have bearish energy. So that was why I was able to predict, and I don't like using that word, but you all know what I mean. It was why we were able to determine a correction for this recent lunar eclipse, which happened on November 8th. So we've been talking about that for almost a year now. And we watched it come to fruition along with the FTX collapse, which is just amazing how we had that eclipse that happened back April, May. And that was, it was in June, and that was the Terra Luna collapse during a lunar eclipse. And Terra Luna pretty much swiped down to zero, fractions of a penny at least. So this is something to consider because we don't have any more eclipses until April 20th, and then that next eclipse is what will shift us into a solar phase. So I don't want to get too much into that right now because that's a while from today, but just to consider where we're at right now. It seems that when we get an eclipse that matches the energy of the cycle, meaning a lunar eclipse within a lunar phase, we are going to have a couple months where the market is a little bit wonky. It could be the following month, which is a little weird. So I just want you to be aware that eclipses just emphasize the energy and make it a little, it's like it turns the volume knob up on the overall direction that you anticipate. Meaning, full moon is a lunar eclipse, and with that happening, you're expecting more downside than usual. When you have a regular full moon, it's not as effective, but it still does bring you low. So we are pretty much today in a full moon, but we've already made it through the lunar eclipse. So that is why in my 49th week decoded video, I talked about anticipating a potential January low, which is something to still keep in mind. So we could get an end of the year sell-off, and that wouldn't be surprising to me at all. And with this recent new moon, we saw the market move up actually about 5 days past the new moon, which is what we expect, but nothing crazy. Same thing here. We have our new moon energy moved up a couple days after, but still overall moved pretty harshly down into that upcoming full moon. So we want to combine TA, we want to combine our levels, and we have something to consider here. It's where we could get into like a short-term TA, which is Bitcoin clearly does not want to break $17,200 to the upside. It's gotten multiple rejections for about 1 week straight. Now we're starting to see the full moon energy come into play, getting a little bit of a new low on the wick. And this could actually lead us to some more downside. First, you would want to look at 16,400, and that would be the break point, which led us into a new high in the structure, in the microstructure. Then you would want to look for the daily close of 16,220. If we start closing dailies below that level, that pretty much will bring us back into the lows range, somewhere into 15,000 one more time. And it would not be weird right now to anticipate one more move down to 15,000 for Bitcoin, not only in this upcoming full moon over the next 5 days, but more likely before January 7th, that kind of next full moon time frame. So this gives us like a month, to kind of let this all play out. And then I still have a overall, outlook that once we get through January full moon and into the January new moon, we will actually enter a short-term recovery phase that could last us all the way into like April. Okay. And I've been very candid about that. I've spoken about that publicly, even in interviews that I've been on in several podcasts. I see a Wyckoff automatic rally leading us into late March, perhaps even early May, depending on the crypto that we're talking about. Typically, we see Bitcoin as the first mover in this stage, and then it will be the altcoins take on some of that liquidity after Bitcoin rolls over. So I don't want to get too complicated because, that's not what this video is about. And plus we have another, we have every week until we get to that April eclipse anyways. So take it 1 week at a time. But I made a video, my last video, talking about December 5th, and we did get a volatile move to the upside, shake out, fake out, and now we've even created a new wick low in the structure. So there was some noticeable volatility on that day, not just for Bitcoin, but for pretty much all the market. So This date that we called out was definitely something to pay attention to, because this was a bull trap most likely for a lot of traders, meaning a lot of people fell for this move. And that's why I keep warning people to not go long on full moons until you've really really it's about being aware of where your entries are, where your stop losses are, kind of like playing it like an actual trader. But I'm just saying that this type of move here, where we get some upside momentum, it shakes people out into thinking, oh yeah, we're just going to keep recovering. And they are unaware of the full moon, the fact that we typically go down around these times. So yes, even though we went up a little bit, it's just to capture bulls, and it's a bull trap. And that's important, because now on this move down, people in like these 10x leverage, 15x leverage positions could have been wiped out today just by being unaware of this lunar cycle. So it's important that we take this into consideration. Now, if we're able to close a daily above 17,200, that would probably be an indicator to move up to about 18.6. Less likely happening now, but definitely possible within this month of December, because we do have a new moon coming up later in the month. More than likely though, one more swipe down to the $15,000 range before Bitcoin starts a real deal recovery into February, March, etc. So let's look at ETH. ETH definitely chopping as usual. Once it gets to this phase where Bitcoin has yet to make a decision, we see ETH kind of get caught up in the same energy as well. And just a continuation of a downtrend, nothing really to see here, but I'm looking for lower levels, at least one more swipe down to $1,000. I would love to see one more move down to below 1,000 into the new year. That'd be amazing for ETH. And that condition would be met, especially if Bitcoin was to roll over back to 15,000 again as well, or even maybe break into 14,000 and lower. I got a comment in my last video because I brought up the idea of Bitcoin going down to 13,500, and somebody was mentioning that they think it's going to go way lower. And I'm fine with that, but I'm a technical analyst and I'm calm about this, and I'm looking at the data and I'm playing it based on the levels of my moving averages and RSI and everything else that I'm compiling together. And this idea that Bitcoin's just going to continue much, much, much lower, I've yet to see people back it up with anything more than just a statement. So if we're going to make comments about anybody's TA, share your data. That's what the Wolfpack is all about. We're not here to just, all agree. I would love to know your technical analysis. Share the reasons why, though. That would make the comment section of these videos just incredibly valuable, even if we're disagreeing. So keep that in mind. I'm not here to have people agree with me. I'm here to be a community that builds together. If we help each other see things that others cannot see, that's ultimately how we all expand together. That's part of the beauty of what we're doing here. And just making, comments saying, oh, we're definitely going lower. I mean, that has no utility for anyone. So come here to react with quality. But I just wanted to say that because I think it's important to break out the mosquito repellent sometimes and just like get the human mosquitoes out of the community as fast as possible. This ETH chart is looking okay. I mean, it does look overall stronger than Bitcoin if we were to analyze the past 6 months or so, but still, definitely not anything to have a party over. And I believe that as ETH settles down lower, we're going to start to see a lot of market cap drain out of the lower market cap altcoins. We're probably going to see a lot of a rotation of the nonsense projects like the shit coins, and it's going to flow back into ETH, and it's going to make it a very exciting next 3 or 4 months as we watch that all unfold. It doesn't necessarily mean that because we're going to have relief for Bitcoin, ETH, and the top coins, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a relief for the entire crypto market. There's still about 20,000 nonsense cryptos that need to go to zero. And there's things working in the background with ISO 222 and, even the Ripple SEC case, et cetera, that could totally lead to some of those moments unfolding, especially like with what we just had with FTX and all the publicity it got with Joe Rogan even talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. So getting to some of the TA and the conditions, if I start to see $1,300 daily closes higher, then I do anticipate ETH to potentially move up maybe into 1570, but I don't think it'll make a new higher high in the structure just yet. Most likely downside first before upside. I'm keeping that condition based on my last video that I put out, and I'm sticking to it until I see it unfold. Now we have XRP, same story. We're kind of just chopping around high 30-cent level, really unable to solidify closes above 41 cents. That's not strength. Right now, we need to see Bitcoin make a decision. If Bitcoin makes a decision, I do think we'll start to see things like XRP wake up. But right now, we need to get through this full moon. Like I told you, we have between today and December 12th to anticipate some energy in this market. Then we have Saturnalia falling into the end of the 50th week of the year. That way we could kind of maybe get some little push up into Christmas time. That would definitely not be weird. We know the economy is all about buying and buying and buying at that time. We saw how in the start of 2022, we actually did move up into the end of the year for the traditional markets. You see right here between December 4th and December 23rd, we actually swiped up pretty nicely until like Christmas Eve, and then we rolled over into the new year, and perhaps that's something that's going to repeat. The only thing that's different to remember is that lunar cycle and solar cycle stuff that I told you about before. So I'm not saying that we're going to have a repeat of 2022 in the year of 2023. I'm just talking about the specific end of the year. So conditions for XRP closing over 41 cents, there's a possibility to swipe to 45. That condition being met would probably be enough for it to roll over and have another lower, just another lower high. Nothing new to anticipate at this time, just because we really broke down hardcore into 31 cents, and that's a sign of weakness for XRP. So it would make more sense for us to chop lower first, maybe into 32 cents, and perhaps with the January full moon, maybe even break 30 cents, which I think would be a gift. It would be an amazing opportunity to get into long positions and to buy XRP as a long-term investment. Again, that's not financial advice. That's just the way that I'm playing it. So the Discord that I was also talking about before, I also will be sharing when I'm buying projects. So if I decide to make an investment, I will be sharing that with the Mastermind community over on Patreon. So until then, let's just see how the next couple days play out. I gave you guys upside and downside conditions with a more bearish bias. I do anticipate us to be experiencing some downside, but overall, nothing insane. We already had, really, really nasty correction into November eclipse. We don't really have any eclipses going until the the April timeframe. If we start to see the Dow Jones roll over, I think that would be a sign. If the Dow was to really start like coming back into like the low 32,000 point level, that would probably indicate us to see Bitcoin get back to 15,000 and maybe even break into those lower lows like I shared in my prior video. So let's leave it at that. Plenty of information in this one. Hope you all took notes. Definitely like the video if you enjoyed everything, and I am wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.